does it take to be number one? 2 is not a winner, and 3 nobody remembers. What does it take to be number one?
Alright, welcome to Wrestling 101, episode number 3. Today we're going to be talking about escapes and reversals, and in addition to that, we'll be answering a question posed to me earlier in the week by one of my viewers. I'd like to begin this video, however, by saying thank you to Live Sports Video and Takedown Radio. Without their continued coverage of wrestling, we would have nothing to view. Everything I use in my videos is done by them. If you'd like to check them out, I put a link to them in the sidebar. They have a ton of great stuff to view, and it's not just wrestling. So the video we will be using today is of the Iowa-Minnesota Duel at the National Duel Championships held at the Unidome in Cedar Falls, Iowa. Alright, escapes are literally where the guy on the bottom escapes from the man on the top. Breaks body control, breaks hand control, turns and faces his opponent. In this situation, the guy on top is known as the rider. He accrues what is called riding time as long as he is on top. It's a clock that continues to count up. Once it gets past 1 minute, you get 1 point at the very end of the match. The reason you get it at the very end of the match is because if your opponent begins to ride you, your riding time decreases until it gets to 0, and then his starts to build. That's very important. Escapes are worth 1 point. Now, a lot of people think because they're only worth 1 point, they're not as important as other moves. This is completely untrue due to the fact of the riding time, as I previously stated, and also the fact that if you can't escape from your opponent, you have no chance or no opportunity to get takedowns for yourself, to gain points to take the lead. Now, there are 2 distinct styles to getting an escape. There's the style where a person explodes out, just hits it hard and just goes at it really fast. You can see that here with Ketty. He just explodes out. Yeah, he doesn't get out right away, but he keeps going. He keeps moving fast. He's just hammering away. He finally gets out. Daniel Dennis, same thing. Off the whistle, snaps right out, gets the escape immediately. That's one version of getting an escape. Another is the slow, methodical, sitting out, breaking hip control, pulling your hips away, breaking hand control, and then eventually turning and facing your opponent. Both styles are very effective for people that wrestle that style. Moving on to reversals. Reversals are very similar to escapes. It's where the guy on bottom is going to get points. However, instead of escaping from your opponent, you're actually going to be moving from the bottom position into the rider position without ever breaking control. Reversals are uncommon. There's really not necessarily one specific way to do a reversal. There is what's called a switch. I could not find any video of that, so I can't show you a switch today. But it's worth 2 points. The reason that they aren't as a gigantic deal, even though they're worth 2 points, is because a great deal of the time you'll get a reversal and then your opponent will escape. And then it just becomes, you get 2 points, they get 1 point. It's the equivalent of getting escape. So they're not that much different from escapes. One question that continues to be asked is why is this wrestler intentionally allowing this guy to escape? And the reason for that is he knows he's going to get a takedown afterwards. He's going to continue to build a lead. So he will allow a wrestler to escape and get the 1 point because he's immediately going to get a takedown and get 2. And they'll continue and repeat this over and over again to build a bigger lead on their opponent. Alright, so now we're going to move on to the question that was asked. This question was asked by Lucho5858, and the question is, could wrestling become a barefoot sport much like MMA? For those of you that don't know, some of the best MMA fighters were originally wrestlers. There's a lot of similarities. And the answer to that question is pretty much no. The difference is the surface. In MMA, they play on a harder surface. It's much more firm. There's less padding. In wrestling, because there's a mat, it makes it hard not to wrestle without shoes. The reason for that is if you were to wrestle on that soft mat barefoot, you could suffer an injury known as turf toe, which is where you step on your own toe and stretch the ligaments in the joint. It's an incredibly painful injury. It takes a long time to recover for it, and shoes help to protect from that. That's not the only reason, That's one of the biggest reasons that I see is the safety of the wrestlers. So it would be very difficult because of because of the matted surface for wrestlers to wrestle barefoot. So that's all I have for the wrestling video today. I hope that you subscribe. I hope that you rate. I hope that you comment, and look for the next Wrestling 101 video in the future.
This is 10% luck, 20% skill, 15